I think one of the problems is that the academics, of course, are into it for research. Commercial collectors are into it for both research and for sale, whether that be to a university or a museum, or in some cases to private collectors. As far as the vertebrate fossils are concerned, I think they're all important. And I think it's important that people who are doing research and study of these animals can have access to those specimens to investigate, because I think you're only learning half the science if you're only looking at half of the specimens.
Terra Draconis, this issue in this documentary really focuses on the purchase and sale of fossils from museums and commercial collectors, and the validity of some of these sales. Main source of strife, it seems, is this idea of selling dinosaur fossils in public auctions. And these are fossils that are meant to advance science. And, what ends up happening when they're on this public sphere and public auction spheres, there's price gouging, and there may be limitations to science because you have private collectors doing what they want to do with these fossils. It becomes a debate like about once something is commercially collected, it becoming lost essentially to science. When you hold on to these fossils and you don't allow scientists to access it, it becomes a disservice to science. So I felt like what it overall was trying to get to the bottom of was finding a way to have commercial collectors, museums, academia all work together so that these fossils we continue to enhance our knowledge about these fossils, as opposed to losing information because of the sale privately.
Terra Draconian. This is a world I knew nothing about before coming into the doc, but now I care. And that is the key with filmmaking, and especially with documentary filmmaking, with a variety of really engaging subjects, with the visuals to pair with it, and getting to actually see the work and how it's done, with this very strong call to action driving under the piece. And I feel like I'll probably never look at museum fossils the same again, knowing what potential scientific mysteries they hold. But I think the aim of the piece is to bring awareness in a way that's engaging and also rallies us and moves us in our awareness. And it definitely did. So well done, and great pacing throughout as well. I think that it never lagged, and the momentum was clearly crafted.
Terra Draconis. Okay, this was a very illustrative documentary to watch because I have always liked dinosaurs, but I have never stopped to think on what happens with the fossils. I always had this wrong notion that, as Indiana Jones says, they belong to a museum or something, but to find out that there's such a big commerce about this and a gigantic controversy on who should keep the fossils and why was something fascinating to discover. I mean, it's very controversial for sure, but it was fascinating to find about this, to see all these individuals or these professionals talking and discussing about this subject. I was also delighted to find out more about how the first fossils were discovered, who were the people responsible for this, and the whole history of dinosaur fossils. It was a fascinating documentary. It's like 22 minutes long, but it feels somehow shorter. Um, I, 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 I don't know. It's a good question. Who should keep the fossils? Because it doesn't seem right that people who has money or the people who just finds it are the ones that keep it, because they belong to. I think that they should belong to everyone who needs or wants to study this, because the more we study about the dinosaurs, the more we'll learn about them. So, keeping away knowledge, stealing knowledge, hiding knowledge is something that ultimately doesn't help. people or humankind, and that just slower makes the scientific investigation, the scientific research much slower. So yes, I was very fascinated to watch this documentary. I like the old images of how people used to think that dinosaurs or other creatures will look like. It was there were some of those images, some of the drawings are kind of fun, so it's always nice to watch that, to see that. Yes, it was a very interesting, thought-provoking subject. Thanks for saying it, and I hope you find more dinosaur enthusiastic to enjoy this piece.
Um, I really like Terra Draconis. Terra Draconis. I thought I always say the strength of a documentary rides on the subject matter, and dinosaurs, I mean, classic. They're always interesting. They've been interesting since I was a kid. They're interesting now. They're gonna be interesting when I'm old. Like, so a documentary about dinosaurs, I'm there, yo. I really liked it. It kind of showed like a different side of collecting dinosaurs that I didn't know about, as far as the conflict between like science and like commercial dinosaur bone collecting, and like that warfare. I didn't know anything about that, and I think now I feel like I have a deeper understanding and appreciation for all of that. So, and I think that's kind of the goal of a documentary like this, is to like bring people into the know about this issue. So, and did it, and so mission accomplished there, and did it in an interesting way. Also, I like the cinematography as far as like the B-roll of like the dinosaur bones. I liked how the interviews, talking heads were like set up with like lots of dinosaur bones in the background. I thought those were nice choices. So overall, really well done. Great job.